What up, everybody? Just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who's supported Lockdown Universe for the past 3 years. I really appreciate you. And if you've been thinking about a way to support, but you didn't have $1.99 to support for each month, that is okay. If you want to just buy me a coffee, there's an option for you to just buy me a coffee inside the description of each episode moving forward. So just highlight that, put it in your browser. You can go right there and buy me a coffee or 2 or 3. I like coffee. Who doesn't? And I would really appreciate it. And it would keep me awake enough to make more podcasts for you guys. So I would appreciate that. And just wanted to let you know. Thanks for that. And thanks for supporting the podcast. Let's get to the show. What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are doing excellent and taking care of yourselves. So today, we're going to talk about the future war of psionics. And this is being brought to you by information related to us from Randy Kramer, who is part of the Mars Defense Force and the Secret Space Force, as well as the Earth Defense Force, and he's been authorized to come forward and give us information that would not normally be released. So, we are going to talk about what he believes is human potential for the coming war on psionics now, or with psionics, I should say. So, right now, we're fighting with conventional means. We're fighting with weapons and things like that. But when it comes to extraterrestrials, they also fight with psionics. Well, what are psionics? They are the capability for us to influence either a local entity or a very distant entity with only using the mind. Telekinesis, telepathy, or clairvoyance, right? Being able to predict the future. All of these things come into play when you're using psionics. Now, humans, in general, we haven't fully developed yet. That's what Randy Kramer talked about in one of the most recent episodes of Cosmic Disclosure. I'll play a little clip in just a second. So it's really interesting because he talks about how humans, much like athletes, in general, some athletes have a natural ability, God-given talent, if you will, and some develop over time. Now, let's just, this is my favorite because I love the Chicago Bulls, but if you remember, when Michael Jordan first came into the league, he could not even get to the playoffs. They couldn't even, they weren't getting deep into the playoffs. They weren't getting to the finals. They were getting beat by the Pistons. They were getting beat by anybody else. The Cavaliers, and they just couldn't make it past the Eastern Conference Finals, get into the finals until the 90s. Remember, Jordan came into the league in 84. 6 years of not getting to the finals. So that was talent, and then also development. He started lifting weights. He started being able to develop his muscles to be able to fight against these bigger, badder guys. That's exactly what humans are going to be doing in the upcoming war that we're going to have with different races, especially with reptilians and other species that primarily fight with psionics. So here we have Randy Kramer. He's going to talk a little bit about how humans have more potential than the reptilians do. The reptilians are primarily focused on this, they only have a reptilian brain. They can only use their focus with the confines of this reptilian brain. It doesn't have the mammalian part of the brain. Mammals, by nature, are fun-loving. They play with each other. They engage with each other. Sure, they are fierce competitors for meat and things like that, but they have this playful creativeness that reptilians don't have. You'll see that when they play with cubs, when they play with the children of their clan. And so he's going to talk a little bit about this. I'm going to pop it up here. And I just found this particular clip just really, really fascinating. So I just wanted to share it with you real quick here. So we will play this here real quick.
Outputs. Compared to extraterrestrials that have these psionic abilities, where do humans rate on the ruler there?
So that comes into a question about development and potential. So development would be like, so if we were to think of the Terran species and a development stage, we could think of it like a 13 or 14-year-old child, right? Not fully grown, not, 5-year-old, but growing adolescent, right? We could think of our development as a psionic species to be about like a 13 or 14-year-old.
So we're teenagers.
Say like the Draconians, for instance.
Reptilians.
Their development would be like a 75-year-old man, right? So they've had more time at it. They've had longer years, decades, centuries to develop at it. But potential-wise, our potential is greater than their potential because we have a mammalian brain and they have a reptoid brain. And the mammalian brain has an opportunity for development that the reptilian brain does not have.
Are we limitless then?
Yes. Theoretically...
With psionics.
Right. And theoretically, this comes down to the neurobiology of the part of the brain that allows mammals to play. So the same part of your brain that allows 2 wolf cubs to jump around and play with each other, 2 cats to jump around and play with each other, or 2 kids to jump around and throw balls and play with each other, that's mammalian brain.
So we have that creativity. We have that potential for having fun, for learning, for developing, that they just don't have. I mean, the reptilians and the Draconians, they're not, again, they're not all bad, but as a general overall species, they dominate every planet that they come across. They just come in and they dominate, and they use fear-based technology in forms of gases and psionics to make you fear them so that you can't fight them. But he states that all these soldiers that he's trained and been with, the rookies will have fear, but the guys that have been trained have been through it. Kind of like getting maced for your first time when you become a police officer. You understand what it's like. Yeah, it freaking sucks, but you learn how to battle through it after you've been through it a few times, or you don't, and you wash out, like they say in the Navy SEALs. So I think moving forward, I think it's just going to be interesting to see. Randy has a ton of people he's training. He has his own facility and his own school where they train in psionics. That's one of the interesting things I just found out about his interest in training people as well, is that he's bringing it to us as a human society. That it's not everybody that gets this opportunity. We don't get, it's humans. I mean, not humans, but our civilians don't get the capability to jump in and learn this stuff. So the psionics training that he has is totally separate from Gaia. It's his own training facility. I think it's kind of interesting, man. I think it's possible that you might actually be able to learn how to defend against yourself or defend against others with this kind of training. I'm not advocating for him. I don't have an invested interest in it, but I would like to see if they would be legit. I would like to find out if you can actually learn about this. So it's possible. When is this going to happen? Randy says soon. Their intelligence is that there is a hostile takeover of Earth coming soon. Now, is that going to be the Draconians? Is that going to be another species that uses psionics? We don't know. Right now, like Randy said, we're like 13 years old. We're trying to learn a few things. Well, here's what's really interesting. Detectives, people that are driven to become detectives, to use their nose to sniff things out, really using their mind, right? They're using ESP. They're using as much sensory information that they can develop to solve cases, cold cases, things like that. That's why they're so good at what they do, is because they already have this within them. Some people that have this innate capability. However, that being said, Randy and others like Corey Good and David Wilcock has talked about, it has stated that everyone has the capability. Everybody actually is at zero. There's nobody that comes in like a natural gifted athlete like Michael Jordan and is just amazing at it. Some people are a little bit above others only because they trained on it a little bit, but everybody has the capability to do it, and they all have it within them. There's not a single person on the planet that doesn't have this. You'll know this because so many children come into the world and they're just out of the spiritual realm, being born into the earth, and then they're able to see into different realms sometimes. They're able to see ghosts, they're able to see spirits, other things, and aliens on top of it. Whereas we can't see it. We're either too old, we blocked it out, right? Because the brain is a defense. It puts up defenses. It's a defensive mechanism and a survival mechanism, and it allows you to live, but it has to block out certain things to allow you to live. If you paid attention to every single thing that when you're walking down the street, you would lose your mind, right? Shoot, that's a problem that a lot of people have with anxiety, social anxiety, generalized anxiety, is that when they go out, they almost become paralyzed because there's too much information coming in. And we talked about this in another podcast where whether it's visual stimuli or auditory stimuli or radio frequency stimuli or somebody yelling, kids playing, somebody working on concrete, all this stimuli is just overwhelming for people. So that's why we have meditation. We have training in psionics. We have meditation that allows you to get into the flow for training in psionics. We have deep hypnotic regression therapy so that you can relax the mind, stop all of the stimuli, close your eyes, not taking any more stimuli in, but you're solely focused on the mind so that you can fully utilize what the mind and the brain's capability truly has to offer for your life, for your health, for your family, for your wealth, and for your defenses. And so we're just on the very beginning stages of learning psionics. We do have people that are already using it, such as Uri Geller, such as Joseph McMoneagle, such as many others. Ariana Nakovic, Nakovic. She was in Russia. She was their telekinesis guru over in the Russian Confederation nowadays. I think it was Anna. I'll have to pull it up. But telekinesis, where she was able to move things underneath, that were captured underneath like big glass domes. Nina Kulagina, jeez, my brain. Nina Kulagina. She lived until 1990, but she was a Russian woman who had psychic powers, particularly in psychokinesis, the capability of moving things. Telekinesis, psychokinesis, same thing. So, we have it within us. Our potential is off the charts. We are like a 13-year-old that, is growing into our body, and our potential is off the charts because our capability for outside of the box thought is greater than many of these other species. Even though they had more time to develop, like you said, a 75-year-old man, they don't have the capability to grow as far as we do. It's kind of like the children that we have right now, where, we might be, you might be like 5'8", but your children grow up to be like 6 foot, right? And then their children are going to grow taller and taller because we're developing more. We're getting better. We're getting better nutrition. We're understanding that certain things aren't as good for us as other things. And through that knowledge, our children are getting more developed. And it'll be a benefit to them if we can develop them with the psionics and the psychokinesis and the telekinesis, telepathy. Because let's face it, if you can give somebody information through telepathy, you don't have to kill as much time as you would trying to just blurt it out through this vocal box and trying to think of the right words. You can shoot out an image of what you're thinking, and the person will understand it. It'll be like a moving picture, almost as if it was a movie, right inside their mind. And that's exactly what most people say when they've had these telepathic conversations. They'll hear it right in their head, and boom, they get it. I think there's just some sort of block that, has been put on us. A lot of people talk about the calcification of the pineal gland and decalcifying it. There's other things, but I think that through the people that are doing these trainings, change takes time. As we've seen throughout the last 100 years, through the civil rights movement, through, now we have so many different, movements that have come into light. Change takes time. But as we begin to accept aliens, we're going to begin to accept the fact that they can communicate telepathically, and they may have telekinesis. And if they have it, then we'll understand that we can also have it. We just have to work on it and understand that through our creativity, we'll be able to do so much more. I just wish that I could close the door when I was sick in bed. So many times I would lay there, and I'd be like, I want to move that door closed because somebody left it open and I don't want to listen to anybody else. And I tried to use the force, man. I tried to use the force. I could never get it to work. I was like, I know I can get it to work. I just use it. I couldn't use it. But if you're a guy named Luke Skywalker, maybe you can use it. I think it's worth doing some research on. I think it's worth looking into. I think it's worth checking out Uri Geller, Randy Kramer's school. Look up these Nina Kulagina videos. You'll see. I mean, it's truly amazing. I mean, she had to put a lot of effort into it, and she would get headaches, and she would get physically drained, but she was able to do it. And it was very fascinating. They did, laboratory studies on her, real scientific studies. So there's people out there that are able to do it. I think it's just up to us, up to you, to be able to go out and reach out and do your own research into it. I can bring you the information, but I can lead a horse to water, but you guys got to jump out and take the next step. Now, I have done podcasts on Nina Kulagina. If you want to go back in time, back to 2020, you can go pull those up. I have done podcasts on Uri Geller many times for different projects that he's been in. So there's other people that are out there as well, not just those two big names. There's also all the remote viewers. They were able to capture information from a distant location in a remote location. So continue to do your research. I will continue to bring it to you. I hope you guys enjoyed this little mini portion of a podcast. I'm enjoying bringing them to you. I want to try to continue to bring them on a hopefully daily basis because I think it's important. I think it's important for our future and for our sustainability. The faster we can get there, the better. But I think it's one of those things that's going to have to get incorporated into society quick. And the only way to do that is to talk about it. And that's what we're going to do here at Lockdown Universe, try to bring it out to everyone. So if you like, follow, and share, and subscribe, and just share it. Just share the podcast. Click on it, put it on your Facebook page. Say, hey, this was really interesting. This is kind of cool today. I learned about this. Just put it out there, because the more you put it out there, the more it's going to get out there for people to understand and use for themselves. And that's what the goal is. It's not just for me to do the podcast and talk to myself. It's to have a community and develop humanity so that we're all, developing in the right direction. Nobody wants their kids to turn out to be bullies or jackasses or idiots, and we don't want a bunch of people out there, reproducing, doing all this stupid stuff, killing the planet. We want to develop our children into good spiritual beings, not just knuckleheads and bullies. So that's the goal. So please share it on your Facebook, share it on your Twitter, share it on your Instagram. Just share this particular podcast if you want, just this episode, or more, whatever you like to do. That would really help. So thank you guys for listening. Go follow, and share, and take care of your physical health, spiritual health, emotional health. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. And as always, continue to follow or question the universe around you. Take care of yourselves. Lockdown Universe out. Go share.